Hello, Pisces. I'm here with your reading for May of 2021. This is for Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising. And if you're not sure of how to find your Sun, Moon, and Rising signs, I have a link for a website below in the description box. And or you can just Google, how do I find my moon sign? How do I find my rising sign? Yada, yada, yada. And there are tons of sites that help you find that information. And they're free. So for the month of May, this is a very general reading. So I'm going to ask you to take what resonates for you specifically and then leave the rest for others. And so if you watched the video last month, you would notice that I had a specific spot for each card. Each card meant something specific. It was representing past energy. It was representing current energy. It was representing energy that's helping you, that sort of thing. We're not doing that this month. The only card that represents something specific is this one here, which is your own energy. For these 6 cards here, they're representing the overall story for the month of May, and they are not in a consecutive order. So it's not like we're starting here and then ending here in May. They're not going, this way. These are all this energy is blending together, working together with one another. It's all a big mishmash. And like Aquarius before you, I was not going to use this deck. And I actually, for you guys, wanted to use, I was just going back to using my crow deck. And instead I was pulled to use this one. And like I said to Aries before that, before this video was not Aries, Aquarius. The author of this deck, it's called the Good Tarot, she seems to prefer like a little more positive spin on some of the traditional meanings of these cards, and she prefers that these cards are read upright. And I tend to do that. I don't always stick with her meanings with tarot cards. I do that with all decks. It's based on like what hits me intuitively. But I feel just like Aquarius, this deck was calling out to me because you needed a little more gentle edge from your reading. So, and I know you're probably all just sitting here like, shut up and move, because I see this tower and I want to know why that tower is here, right? So I'm asking you not to panic about that tower energy. And we're going to get started with your own energy for the month of May. And we have temptation. So temptation in traditional tarot, this would be the devil card. But for this author, she has it as temptation. And, her specific meaning for this card is about attachment to material goods. And for me, what I'm hearing for you is, this is the month to really dive deep and start working on releasing yourself from some pretty unhealthy attachments. And that's going to look different for a lot of people. For some of you, it is going to be thinking like, it's on that train of addiction. You may have found that in recent months, especially in the last year, that you were drinking more than you needed to be, or relying on other substances more than you should be. And it's kind of negatively impacting you right now. For others, this is an unhealthy way of eating. This is addiction to toxic people or toxic situations. For others, it's addiction to a toxic way of thought, especially negative thoughts about yourself, self-doubts, that sort of thing. So it's going to look different for a lot of people who are viewing this, and you're going to know what it is when you hear it, that it is time for some of these attachments that you have to be released. It's stuff that you don't want to carry with you anymore. And it's time to work on mastering your health, whether it's your physical health, emotional, or spiritual health. When there's areas that you feel that you can control what you're attached to, it's time to like break those chains. And we're going to see that because having this temptation card and this need to release is very important, because then we have the Tower card, and it's almost like the temptation is like, please start removing these unhealthy things now, because the Tower also forces change and forces you to remove, it causes events that like force you to detach from a few things, detach from situations or people, or habits even. And so going through this, we have the Seven of Air, the Tower, the King of Air, the Hierophant, the Ace of Fire, and the Fool. If you're more familiar with traditional tarot, this is the Seven of Swords, Tower, King of Swords, Hierophant, Ace of Wands, and the Fool card. And I also know that you got 4 major arcana cards. You got the Fool, the Tower, the Hierophant, and Temptation. So May right now is going to be the catalyst for a lot of big change. You're not going to see all of the big changes for your life in the month of May, but that energy is initiating now. And part of that is going to be you deciding, I can't have this in my life anymore. This isn't working for me anymore. And so I'm going to get to the Tower card right now because that's like, one that people panic about a lot. And the Tower card can be definitely like external events that happen to you. It's very quick energy. It's a sense of things, it's a sense of upheaval, and, things in your life no longer fitting where they are right now. And it's like that idea of trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. And when you have like a very shaky foundation, eventually things are going to come crumbling down. And there's a need to rebuild your foundation. There's a need to rebuild things in your life so that they're more stable for you, because what you've got going on right now isn't stable. It's not bringing you security, and eventually it's just going to come all crumbling down. The Tower is great grounding energy, even though it can be very, very uncomfortable. Sometimes it's traumatic energy as well. It tends to ground you and bring you back down to where you need to be so that you can reevaluate, reassess, and then rebuild. And for some of you, this isn't necessarily like this big oh my God, speak Jen, external event that is happening to you. For some of you, this is going to be a massive internal shakeup. I don't know if you've ever experienced, you're just going about your day, driving along, whatnot, and all of a sudden, you have like a memory that comes flooding back, or you just have like an epiphany, like something pops in your mind that just makes you like almost fall to the ground, or just stop whatever you're doing and go, holy shit. And it just makes you rethink everything in that moment. So for some of you, that's what that Tower moment is going to be, rather than something in your external world impacting you. And with the Seven of Air and the King of Air and even the Ace of Fire, I find you, finding a new sense of independence, so like with the Tower, we're not fitting in. Things aren't fitting where they are right now. Like your life is just not on very firm ground right now. And that's not a judgment, and that's not like a bad thing. We all have moments in our lifetime where we're not where we're supposed to be anymore. And, sometimes we stick in that energy a little bit longer than we need to. That's not a value judgment on anybody. But I feel you with the Seven of Air and the King of Air, really needing to, be a bit more independent and move on. Like I said, we're detaching, we're releasing and moving on. And, for some of you, it's just that moment where you say, I'm not going to take this anymore. I'm not going to deal with this person's crappiness anymore, or I'm not going to deal with this group's crappiness anymore. And I'm standing up for myself. I'm deciding who I'm meant to be, what I stand for, who I want to speak for. And I don't want other people speaking for me anymore. I want to speak for myself, and I want to create my own journey, or I want to create, I want to take control of my own situation, and build something better for myself. This energy is all working together. And, I giving you a little bit like of a positive boost here. The Seven of Air, when we look at the Seven of Swords, sometimes that can indicate, people being full of crap around us, people trying to deceive us. Sometimes it's us trying to deceive other people or even ourselves and not being honest with ourselves. And so it's definitely something to look at. Are you dealing with people that you believe might not be serving your best interest, might be yapping behind the back a little bit? Are you being dishonest with people like, yeah, I really want to be here, I really love this job, or I really love being in this group of people, and all of that, but you're not really being honest, and then that just hurts you and them. It's coming to this moment of clarity and being honest with yourselves, and sometimes holding other people accountable for their part in your life right now. And that's going to be part of that detaching energy, and from there, though, we have this beautiful Ace of Fire and this Fool energy too, which are very, there's a lot of like newness coming along. So it's like releasing and detaching and standing up for yourself and gaining some more independence and really taking care of your spiritual health and your mental and emotional health as well, and deciding where you want to fit in and where you no longer do. And moving on, and from there, hitting yourself on a new path, or opening up, some more new energy that's going to be a lot happier and a lot more beneficial, a lot more positive for you. I feel like this King of Air is you taking over this Seven of Air energy, where the Seven of Air energy sometimes, like I said, isn't always, us being honest with ourselves or other people, or dealing with dishonest people. And this King of Air energy is you taking that power back and committing yourself to the truth, committing yourself to honesty, allowing yourself to have a lot more of a clearer focus for the road ahead, and a clear focus and vision for what you want in your own life, and what you want for just for yourself, and how you want your future to look. It's being committed to like that clarity, and being committed to honesty and truth and whatnot. And with the Hierophant too, really pulling from your own power, and your own knowledge base, your own experiences, and letting that guide you, as well as being open to learning new things. And it may be learning new things about people. It may be learning about where some people were sort of deceiving you a bit, or they just weren't honest about, for instance, if you went into business with somebody, or you entered into a partnership with somebody based on, promises that they had offered you, and now you're learning about how that wasn't exactly true. And this is going to hit people the wrong way, but I have to say, because it keeps popping in my head, like MLM energy. I feel like for some of you, it's so simple. Like a friend of you wanted to sell oils with her and promised you lots of money, and you're realizing it wasn't true. I don't know why that popped in my head. It's probably going to be for just like one simple person. It's incredibly specific. But I had to get that out. Moving on, you're learning a lot about yourself. You're learning a lot about other people, and you're learning about where you really think you want to be. You're opening yourself up to thinking that maybe, the plans that you laid out a few years ago aren't actually working out. It's not where you're meant to be. And 5 years ago, you might have been like, I'm meant to be this person, and I'm meant to do that thing. And now you are here being that person and doing that thing, and you're realizing that's not what you're meant for. And that's no longer fitting in your life. That aspect of your life just no longer works out. And it's time to move on, and it's time to like reignite all of your passions and think about, what it really is that you want for yourself, and what it really is that you want to do. And you may not have all the resources available to meet that goal right now, but allowing yourself to have that moment of thinking, you know what, I think I will start that. I'm going to explore this idea of, doing something I'm really passionate about, or being with people that I'm really passionate about, but, lighting your own fire and following that. And we have this like beautiful full energy, which, is the energy of new beginnings, especially with this Ace of Fire. Something new and fresh is coming out of like this tumultuous energy here, especially after you detach. You got that new beautiful energy waiting for you. And the Fool also asks you that you may not, tells you that you may not have all the answers right now, and you might not be able to see how things are going to be in the future. And, and that's scary. Sometimes when you make a decision, it's hard to say, this is the right decision because I don't know how it's going to work out. And the Fool asks you to have faith that things are going to work out, that even though you have this really rough and uncomfortable tower moment, that it is going to lead to something that is going to be better for you. So please, trust the process and have faith in that. And we are going to end with an oracle reading. This is Wild Offering Oracle. So just as a warning, it does have like religious type language, at least to me. And so that is something that you are not into. Just work around some of that wording. All right, body. Show me divine love, how to fully care for this body. Please give me the radiant miracle of accepting my body as it is. Very interesting. But I feel that's relating to this temptation card that I was talking about in the beginning of the reading. For a lot of you, there's this need to reassess where you are right now and maybe get rid of some of the unhealthy attachments and habits, that any bad health habits that you may have that you can have control over, maybe cutting down drinking or cutting down on, toxic thoughts, toxic people, toxic situations, things like that are ultimately going to benefit your overall health. And your body isn't just your physical health. Your body contains your soul, your emotions, your mental health as well. So by taking care of all of that, and detaching from all the yucky stuff, it really elevates your health overall. Woo! So, all right, Pisces. Very interesting reading for the month of May. If you have any questions, if you need anything clarified, just let me know in the comments below. I hope that you are very safe and very healthy wherever you are. I am sending you lots of love and blessings. Thank you for allowing me to read for you, and I will see y'all next month. Okay, bye-bye.